So I'm gonna make a big batch of pepperoni. I got a chunk of pork here and a chunk of brisket that I'm defrosting, and to speed it up, I'm just putting in some lukewarm water to get it going a little quicker because it's vacuum sealed anyway. I got my meat grinder set up. I've made this little tube jig because I've got some fine casings that don't really slide on that well. So we'll see how that works. I gotta do up a ton of garlic, and I find that this Starfree cutter slicer thing works really good. So all I gotta do is deskin the garlic, and then I put it in there and blend it up, because I'm basically making sort of honey garlic style, but hot. But I'm not going to use honey because I don't have honey right now. It's all in my bee hive. I'm just going to use a bit of brown sugar to sweeten it, and then I'm going to hang it in my smokehouse because they finally lifted it today. So I'm going to be able to fire up my smokehouse again, so I'm quite excited. And the bacon's in there, still curing. It's going to be in there for another week before I can hang it in my smokehouse, but I'm very excited to start smoking again. So, pretty good. Anyway, I'll try and do enough segments that today that you get the whole picture of how I'm doing this. Thanks. I did manage to fashion up a camera holder so I can record the grinding and seasoning process. But basically, I've got my minced garlic. I've got half an ounce of pink cure. I've got equal part, and it's basically 1 cup of brown sugar, salt. I've got pepper. I've got cayenne and chili powder, paprika, and red pepper seed. They're not really measured out. Like, they're measured out by eye. I'm a real eye person. I'm not a professional butcher by any means, but I'm making food for myself. If there's any question, what I generally do is I feed it to my girlfriend first and just see if it affects her, and then if it's fine, then I'll eat it after. This is what I do. So she's a bit of a test subject with all these projects, is what I use her for. But anyway, no, this is actually a fine ratio. But you do want to put that pink cure in there because it helps with the bacteria. But I'm basically smoking this pepperoni like dry. Like, it'd be a dry pepperoni is what I'm shooting for. But yeah, like medium heat and a bit of sweetness. Garlic. Obviously, I have tons of garlic, so I always try and use garlic in it. But yeah, like I said, it's making stuff yourself. It's nothing to laugh about. And then you know what's in it. And saving a bit of money. Every penny counts. So anyway, basically I put 4 whole garlics in there, and I'm going to show you how quick this chopper blender thing works for this. You just put it on 1 and start with that, but I'm going to have to put the camera down for a minute because I still don't have a camera. And you put it on the second one too, give it a few cranks, and I'll show you how minced that garlic is. And realistically, I think that's minced enough for what I'm doing because it's going to go through the grinder as well with the meat. But like I said, I'm shooting for honey garlic, and you know, as you guys know, I grow garlic. There's a big box of garlic right there. Got it all over the place. But a lot of what I like to do with the pepperoni is I make my own pizza just from scratch, you know, like dough, and mix the dough. And if you can get cheap pepperoni, or have cheap pepperoni that's only $4 a pound, it really does make it worth it. Otherwise, just a frozen pizza is just so cheap that you want to buy it. But it's the same thing as everything else. You don't want stuff with a ton of preservatives or chemicals in it. You don't want factory food. Someone told me a funny sort of hymn type thing, and he said that if you live like they did 100 years ago, you'll live 100 years or so. I totally believe that, and I already knew that my entire life. So I'm constantly trying to find ways to make sure that I'm still in touch with like the heritage of how you produce food. I don't want to be like one of those people that's just supersize me type person. You know what I mean? So I really that saying really made sense to me, and my mom taught me that when I was a kid, but I continued it through my adult life too. So at the end here, I'm gonna put the whole day together, and then I'm very excited to show you my smokehouse in action. Yeah, so I got my meat all diced up. I got my slurry diced up. Got my grinder plugged in, ready to go. What I'm going to do is take the slurry with the garlic and mix it in with the meat. Try and get that stuff saturated with garlic and the seasoning and sugar water mixture. Just saturate it up. And then I'm going to run it through the grinder. Put it in this bin. Put it in the fridge for a bit until I'm completely ready with the casings and everything. So I did manage to fashion up a holder, a camera holder. It's the right way. So I'm just quickly drying this. Basically, I'm just putting it on there, poking it in. Yeah, so next I'm getting my smokehouse going. I want to get it up to temperature before I even squeeze out the sausage or whatever. So put a bunch of fir and cedar kingling in there, and then I'm going to switch it to alder. And another item I might mention is I like to use traditional wood. I don't use any pellets or any of that type of stuff, or basically anything manufactured. I'm using traditional wood, so I've cut a load of alder last fall and stored it up for smoking, but that in my region, that's a common wood for like First Nations uses it for smoking salmon. It's common smoking wood. It's readily available, but I have a load of alder for just for smoking. But to get it going here, I'm using a bit of cedar and dry fir I got. Get it stir up to temperature, and then next I gotta just pump out the sausage and hang it in my smokehouse. Okay, and also this is a what it is a it's a Chinese military wood stove that I've had for over 10 years. They've been around a long time, and I had it in another smaller trailer that I built for like a winter survival type trailer. But then all I did was take an exhaust pipe from like a section of exhaust pipe to reroute into here. So now I'm just basically reusing this old Chinese military wood stove to fashion my smokehouse. Okay. Yeah, so I've got my sausage pump all set up, and I think this will work quite well. It's loaded with sausage. We'll just see how this goes. I think it'll work. But just this flute on it was a little too big to slide this casing on, and even this hose I had, it was fairly tight, so I had to hand feed it on. It's sort of a hassle. I'm not sure. I've got a like pretty much a commercial grade sausage pump, but the fittings are sort of they're threaded fittings, so I'm not so sure how easy I'd be able to get the thing. So we're just gonna give this a try. So there's a lot of air. I have to like put a little hole. Yeah. Yeah, now it's working. Just might not want to go crazy, but this is the size of sausage I wanted for pepperoni. And no, it really does smell like pepperoni. So it's the type of casing I wanted. Just sort of slowly give her. And no, I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to leave it in rings and smoke it like that. Basically smoke it like that. And let it dry out. No, it's going well. We're going to tie anything off till the ends. And no, it's going well. I think it helps that I added that moisture mixture. Like I said, I had to something like that. I've had some bad luck with these casings, and I don't want to tie them off. I want to just smoke this and then something like that. I want to tie them off and have them break or pop out when they're during the smoking process. Yeah, no, it's an incredibly good sausage pump. I really think adding the moisture helps. Basically leave it intact until it's dried, like smoke dried. Yeah, they're not bad. I'm about halfway on the pump here. My smokehouse is warmed up, so obviously I want to get stuff into the smokehouse as soon as possible. Because it's getting later in the day. It's only 1 o'clock or whatever, but I'm looking for like a 12-hour smoke. No, that did work quite well. It's lucky that I saved that little chunk of hose that I didn't really need. Pull that off so I can tie it off. And then I need another section, but like I said, I had to hand feed it on. I had to hand feed it on because it doesn't even really, the casing, the whole casing doesn't really slide on it, so I had to hand feed it. But there's my pepperoni, one section. I've got probably double that. Still not cheap making stuff by yourself, but it's cheaper and it's definitely healthier. Tie that off again. Tie it off, or what happens is it explodes. There, it's tied off. So there's one section anyway. That's all I'm going to show you. The rest I'll just finish on my own. But that little hose adaptation thing I made worked fine for the smaller casings. So That's good to know. Anyway. So anyway, that's what I got by the time I finished it. And no, it cost about $15, so it wasn't crazy cheap. Now I got a sewing needle. I'm going to poke a few holes in this before I chuck it on the smoker. Just let some air out type thing, or, well, in this case, because I'm fully cooking it, it's going to be air and fat. But I want the lining to shrink clear. Yeah, it's still not that cheap, but realistically, when you look at the pound weight, it's, not a bad deal. It's cheaper than what you can buy at the grocery store. But I mean, you got to think about your health at the same time. It's not all about the money. It's, health decisions as well. So anyway, next I'll just put this on the smoker and let it dry out. Yeah, you can see as I'm popping it and letting the air out, it's shrinking to it already. That's what I'm looking for by the time it's dried out, is that the skin's shrank. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I got my fucking smokehouse raging like a motherfucker. Gotta open it up to show you here. Whew. Anyway, my sausage is in there, drying out. Yeah, you can see that. This motherfucker just screams smoke in there. And basically, I plan on keeping this thing going till I go to bed, and then pretty much letting it cure overnight. But then, I'm gonna get a ton of smoked pepperoni. So yeah, pretty good. Like I said, you gotta think about your health concerns and stuff, and everything made by hand is better. You want it made by hand. You don't want it made in some factory.